Hello, I'm Philip Stoten. I'm here on the Scoop Studio at Productronica 2017, and I'm joined by three gentlemen to discuss the role of augmented reality in the smart factory. With Jason from Aegis, Jörg from Jabil, and Michael from Zollner. Guys, thanks for joining me. I'll start with yourself, Jason. Really just set the scene a little bit. Tell me where you see augmented reality being used now and what's your role in that process.
Okay, if I may, just for the sake of the audience, I find, and I think you gentlemen probably do as well, there's a lot of confusion about virtual reality versus augmented versus mixed. So I'm confining what I'm talking about to the augmented or mixed, where the operator or whomever's using it sees the actual world and there's something overlaid upon it. And that's where we believe the future right now at least is. The fully enclosed environment is much more limited application. So, and in fact, we actually are in research right now about the application, which I think is very promising. Everybody, our customers, want less real estate for PCs, keyboards, and frankly, there's an ergonomic loss of productivity when you keep reaching for a mouse. There's no value add in touching a screen or reaching for a mouse, but if most of what you can do is presented in a field in front of the operator from a light visor or whatever form it takes, there's a lot of potential to take the digital work instructions that frankly systems like ours already have and putting it through that mechanism. So it's very promising for real, but I think frankly, perhaps more so in box build discrete assembly than maybe electronics, where the complexity of the three-dimensional situation it lends itself to having a visor.
Yeah, and I think the SMT one tends to be a maintenance rather than a box build thing, perhaps. Jörg, from your point of view, one of the things I am always fascinated that Jabil do is they take these kind of leading edge technology and then they apply the engineering rigor to figure out how they can be used in a high volume manufacturing environment. What are you looking at in terms of opportunities with augmented reality?
So you already mentioned the maintenance aspect. That is something which directly maps onto high volume manufacturing. Augmenting the efficiency of the machines and minimizing a smart maintenance program is obviously enhanced by the use of AR as a complementary element. Training of people, on the other hand, is another one we need to do more so often as we introduce new technologies even more rapidly. With even shorter product life cycles, an NPI, a new product introduction, and its ramp up into manufacturing is critically limited by training elements. We can do a lot of that to a degree in the virtual VR world before, but the reality really only hits you on the floor. That's where we need it, and we need it fast.
Yeah, and Michael, within Zollner, you have a number of facilities around the world. When you want to do stuff from one place to the other, is VR a tool that you use?
It's in the pipeline right now at the early stage. The applications that I'm involved with particularly is more on the metrology. So there are, because of the product, I would say miniaturization, there are a number of instances that the physical drawing or paper or even the CAD file that the operator uses to kind of inspect or visualize the product has some limitations. So with the AR or the augmented reality added to the inspection systems, the operator is aided. Where to go, the unreachable is now reachable, and a better decision points being made. So the accuracy is getting more and more closer to the ideal world. Okay?
Yeah. And when I look at augmented reality, I think it's one of those technologies that perhaps there are people outside of our normal domain of collaborative partners that have a great deal to offer. I know, for example, your Radius team have been working with Microsoft on the HoloLens project. Do you see those kind of partners coming to play in the industry now?
I think so. In fact, our development, like we have a thing in HoloLens, Microsoft, Google, there's others, actually much smaller companies springing up with, there is a shift, I think, a bit to commercial applications of AR, whereas we all know what happened with Google Glass, and maybe that didn't go terribly well for consumer. So yes, I think they have a vested interest. They seem to be making a lot of investments in finding perhaps what's most applicable. So then, of course, it would drive adoption from from their commercial perspective.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And Jörg, we saw Radius and Jabil on the Microsoft booth at the Hanover Fair this year. So that's a partnership that's developing in importance. Are there other partnerships like that? Is that how we're going to be able to drive AR in our industry?
I think these partnerships are very beneficial and fruitful. We say this in every other technology instance. The more people come together, the more new insight freshens up the discussion and leads to better and faster solutions. So I'm a firm believer in that, yes.
Michael, you're on many groups, many committees in Silicon Valley. You work with some of the startups there. How do you pick the partners that are going to be able to help you in a process like augmented reality?
Yes, there are two kind of avenues where Zollner is looking into a potential use and also potential, say, a service. So one is when startups basically has a value to our manufacturing processes. So there is a startup that we picked on. The founder was a very intelligent, nice, CEO of this company. She has a concept to build augmented reality basically on inventory, asset management. So just imagine the instances where lost components, we're talking about high value components in a warehouse, like tens of thousands of US dollar. And these are high commodities that needs to be tracked in the pipeline. But with augmented reality solutions, the inventory can be done remotely at any time, at anywhere where the person basically is located. Our German, I would say, global procurement, if she or he wants to dive into the warehouse, it's instant. So that's one value. And then on the, service itself, we are looking into products that we can manufacture. There are good, inventive ideas, but out of so many, it's like diamonds. You see diamond in the rough, you have to polish it, and a lot of work has to be invested. And Zollner is very particular on basically looking into those rough diamonds. Okay.
So last question to everybody, and I'll start with you, Jason. Where do you see it going in the next 12, 18 months? Where do you see augmented reality? Do you think kind of 2 years' time at Productronica, we're going to see some applications? Are we going to see factory logics, things like that, operating with a HoloLens or something similar?
I absolutely think so, but it is, quite frankly, right now being driven by those that are making investments in that kind of technology. But yes, I think it is probably one of, maybe the next Productronica will be a big thing here. I would think so.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And Jörg, from your point of view, you're looking at all kinds of different applications to use it. Is there a killer application that's going to bring it through, or is it going to find its way throughout the Jabil world?
I think it will find its way with some key applications, interestingly driven, I think, more by IT so than by manufacturing, as an assistant to the Manufacturing Solutions Group. A little bit of combination of MES on steroids, but with an integrating AR into higher level applications, say inventory management on one, but also inspection and production monitoring on the other hand. And then on a larger scale, I see if we really commence the transition into a digital transformed manufacturing suite, we will need those assistant tools, AR, to train our workforce. So that is another where I see an immediate need for AR to become present.
Yeah, it's coming through, and it's coming through quite quickly in those kind of applications, Michael. I guess from a point of view of Zollner, you're going to be using it more and more. Do you expect to be using it worldwide in the next 12 to 18 months?
I would say in the next a couple of years or less than a year. There are already processes in, as I mentioned earlier, the inventory asset management and metrology is in the works now. And we look forward that this augmented reality could be the universal tool to train our workforce, because here it's much more easier to interpret or provide the instructions universally. And people see it at the same time, and they were able to interpret it on the same level.
Well, thanks very much, guys. I really like the term MES on steroids. I'm looking forward to that being the next Aegis marketing message. So Thanks very much for your time, and thanks for talking, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Thank you.